start.
Okay, ma'am. Very good evening to one and all. So today we are at the fourth technical session. I heartily welcome all the participants, resource persons, and principal accuracy coordinator for this technical session. It's I appeal Dr. Veena E. Madam to introduce tonight resource person and to welcome all the participants for this FDP.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I, Dr. Veena E., Assistant Professor in Department of Political Science from KLE Arts and Commerce College, Gadag. It's my privilege to welcome you all for fourth technical session of the 7 days FDP on paradigm shift in Indian higher education, challenges and opportunities. Firstly, I wholeheartedly welcome today's resource person, Dr. R.S. Narendra sir, Assistant Professor, Government First Grade College, Kolar. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
And I welcome Dr. S. Muralidhar sir, Chief Mentor, Academic Research Group, Kolar. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
And also I welcome our beloved principal, Professor M.B. Koddi sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
And I welcome Dr. A.K. Matt, madam, IQSC coordinator. Welcome you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
And also I welcome all the delegates and participants for fourth technical session. Welcome you one and all. I feel my pleasure to inform and introduce the eminent resource person, Dr. S.R. Narendra sir, for today's session. He is an academician and researcher. He has been teaching for the past 21 years of UG students. Obtained his master's in commerce from Bangalore University, and sir has been awarded doctorate from Tumkur University on the topic of education and employment mismatch, a multidimensional study. And sir produced 3 books for BCom students according to syllabus of Bangalore University. Sir is life member of Bangalore University Teachers Association, Commerce and Management, Indian Association of Commerce, and also he is a founder member of Kolar Research Group and Academic Research Group of Kolar. And sir as assistant professor in the Department of Commerce and Management, Government First Grade College, Kolar. With this brief introduction, I present before you Dr. S.R. Narendra sir. Once again, welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Veena, madam. It is my pleasure to get this opportunity on this platform to share my knowledge with you regarding technology and its intervention in higher education. Before going to the topic, I would like to thank the principal of the college, Mahadev Padvi sir, and my mentor and guru, Dr. Muralidhar sir, and all my friends and faculty members, and all the participants for giving me this opportunity. So, the process of online blended learning, all these things we are, after this pandemic, we have switched on to, from the classroom teaching, we have switched on to this online and blended learning method. Now, all these things were not that predominantly used before the pandemic. This pandemic has given us an opportunity to try out those technologies which are available and to get sufficient knowledge about the available technologies. Of course, we are not new to technology. We have embraced the technology in all fields of life. And even in education, to some extent, we have been using this technology in the form of computers, in the form of digital images, in the form of PowerPoint presentations, in the form of
Sorry, sir. Sorry to disturb you. I request all the participants to mute your audio, please. It's humble request. Thank you all.
I request
Sorry, sir.
the resource person to please use headphones. Your audio is very weak. It's not audible.
okay.
Share with them.
Am I audible, sir?
This time. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Okay. So this we have been using these technologies, some of the technologies, but when compared to this, the use of technologies in the other fields, whether it is in the industry and whether it is in the commerce and various other fields, we feel that whatever technology we have adopted in the education sector is very minimal. And even after a lot of attempts by the individual institutions as well as the government and many other stakeholders, we are not able to embrace the technology to such an extent where the advanced countries have been using this technology.
We have access to that resource.
So we know that one of the why we have to use technology is they say one of the predominant objective of government of India is Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is self-reliant in India. Now, to make India self-reliant, so we have to see that our young generation, we know that we have this demographic dividend. That is, we have a young India, and this young India is our only hope today. And if we can capitalize this young India by providing the world-class education with sufficient skills and technology, we will be able to realize the goal of self-reliant India. The chairman of Sony Corporation has written a book called Made in Japan. In the book he says, I take care of my people and they take care of my machines. He means to say he take care of his employees and his employees will take care of his machines. Similarly, in the same way, if we as teachers, if we take care of our students, they will take care of our country. So, as such, this technology is very important because not that we are not teaching properly without using technology. We are doing a good job with the same chalk and talk method. Our scenario is different. We are not like the advanced countries. We have to cater to the masses here. So we have to depend on mass education, not the class education. So that is why even though the chalk and talk method, the board and the chalk piece method, even though if it is not a very effective method, but still it is the most convenient method, and that is why we are continuing with that. But this method in the modern world, in this technological world, is not sufficient to deliver the goods. Why it is not sufficient and what is the edge that technology has over this particular aspect is, see, the technology can give visual experience to the student by providing a a multi-sensory experience. Now, the chalk and talk method, the classroom method, what we have adopted and what we are continuing with that. So that will not be able to provide this visual experience because all learners are not same. There are visual learners, there are different varieties of learning, and by research we know that visual learning is more effective when we give more of visuals, when the content is what we call it as media rich. The content is media rich, and if it can cater to the multi-sensory experience of the students, so it will have a long-lasting effect on the student. So that is one of the main reason why the technology should be embraced. And we know that technology has become a part and parcel of our life. So recently, in America, they conducted a survey, a research on college-going students. The survey was, so they mobile phone from the college.
Nice question.
Taking their mobile phone, their heartbeat and other body parameters were checked. And after 20 minutes, their body parameters, heartbeat, everything was checked. And they found that there were a lot of differences, and there was a lot of the heartbeat rate and other things that changed drastically because they had not used the mobile phone for 20 minutes. This is on the college going student. And the medical experts call this as a phobia. Most of the American students who are deprived of the mobile phones for some time, they are suffering with this phobia called as, and they gave a name to this phobia, and the name is nomophobia, no mobile phobia. So even in our country, many youngsters, they are suffering with this nomophobia. If you go to Google and search about nomophobia, you will get lots of information on this. And there is another phobia called as related to Google search. A similar kind of research was conducted where some students were deprived of Google search for half an hour. And there also they found that there were drastic changes in their heartbeat and various other parameters. So this is also a phobia, and they gave the name to this phobia as discombobulation. The phobia or the disease is called as discombobulation. So this shows that we are very much attached to the technology. We cannot imagine human beings' life without technology today. And everybody, we are experiencing that because the gadgets, especially the mobile phones, have become a part of our life. Drastic day, you will not be able to make any phone calls. Earlier, before this mobile phone, I used to remember phone numbers of my friends, my family members, all those things. Today, if I lose my mobile or if I don't take my mobile out, so even I don't remember any of the numbers, even my family members or friends' numbers, we don't remember. So our memory is an extended memory today. So a part of the memory, we have stored it in our mobile phones. So we cannot operate alone without the use of the mobile phones. So that has become our position. When that is our position, now what is happening in the education, we have to look at those aspects. See, we embrace technology all over. We want technology in our house. We want technology outside. We want technology in the industry. We want technology commercially. We want very good vehicles to drive. We want very good equipments in our kitchen, in our dining room. We want very good TV. We want very good multimedia systems. But what is happening to our institutions and colleges where the future of India is getting ready? We are skeptical about experimenting and introducing new technologies in the colleges and schools. And we are always skeptical about that, and we say the same old technology or the classroom method is the best method. We are very much averse to the new technologies, but we want technology to improve the quality of our life. We want technology everywhere except for in classroom. So when we are, and sometimes we are also apprehensive that the emerging technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, will this technology replace the teacher? We are very afraid of that also. Many professors and teachers, including me, we are afraid of whether we will lose our job because of all these new technologies emerging. My friends, my sincere submission is a teacher will not be replaced. Even for 100 years from now, a teacher, whatever may the technology, whatever might be the intervention of technology, a teacher cannot be replaced. But
that link as well and try to understand very emotions
teacher with good technological skills will replace an outdated teacher. So technology will not replace a teacher. The outdated teacher, he will be replaced by another teacher who doesn't know technology. So therefore, so it is high time that we have to think more on introducing technology. If not, we will be left behind. So the pandemic outbreak has taught us a lot of lessons. We were earlier oriented only towards our colleges, where we called the colleges and institutions as the brick institutions. And now they have transformed into click institutions. Even though from brick institutions, there is a transformation, a temporary transformation because of this pandemic. So in this period also, we are able to continue our teaching and learning process to some extent. But this is not everything about technology. Technology is not just doing teaching in Google Meet or Zoom or any other app. This is just one small sample or example. Is just 1% of the technology what we are using. And that too we are using because we did not have any other alternative. So therefore, if this Google class or this Zoom class, whatever we are doing, if it is serving at least to some extent, some percentage of whatever was delivered in classroom, if we use the technology to the full extent, actually this is only 1%. If we use the technology to the full extent, what will be the possibilities? What will be the impact of these use of technologies on the learning and the future learning? So all these things we have to discuss now. We have to have a lot of deliberations on this particular aspect. So for this, as teachers, we have to upskill ourselves in integrating technology into our classrooms, into our teaching, into our pedagogy. So we also know that many of the teachers today, we are learning technology from our kids. So teachers are digital immigrants, but the students are digital natives. There is a wide gap between, see, by the time we learn new technologies, our children would have mastered those technologies. So that is the fate today, because we should become digital natives and our children should become digital immigrants. So we should be much more faster in learning the technologies, using the technologies and delivering those technologies. So with this introductory note, I will start with my presentation. I will share my PPT.
And the ADP or whatever. So in that case, we want the data, we have consumed source method block, right? So we have to create one data source. Already created data source.
Madam, is the PPT
Yeah, sir.
presented?
Yeah. It's visible, sir.
Oh, thank you. See, in 2006, if you look at these technologies, iPhone, iPad, Kindle, Ford, Uber, and some of these softwares, apps, Android, Oculus, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, all these things did not exist. So just in 2006, none of these existed. But today, we are very much used to this, and it has become that we cannot live or we cannot lead our life without these technologies. Now, we say that technology is very difficult to adapt in education or introduce in education because we give so many reasons. But look at this image where the time frame to reach 100 million customers, how each technology has taken. Telephone, it took 75 years to reach 100 million customers. Automobiles, it took 62 years. Electricity, 46 years. Credit card, TV, similarly, you can see so how each of these technologies, they are taking their time. So in the time frame, if you see that, so recently, if you look at Facebook, it took 4 years. Then Instagram 2 years, WeChat 1 year, and there is a game called Pokemon Go, which took only 19 days to reach 100 million customers. So what this image, what this graph is showing is the adaptability or the usage of the speed of the adaptability of the technology. So today's kids, today's we call them as the millennials, teenagers. So their adaptation rate is very fast. They are adapting the technology very fast. Even in this today's, if it was the age of telephone or it was the age of introduction of electricity or TV, we could have said that so it is very difficult to bring technology into education. But today we don't have any excuses. Today, so we have to introduce technology. We have to take it forward, and we have to see all the possibilities which are available in the technology. Now, looking at our industrial revolution, see the first industrial revolution or the 1.00 industrial revolution. So that was only with the production of machines powered by water and steam. And the second 2.0 industrial revolution, it introduced mass production. It was after the World War I and II, that is at the beginning of the 20th century. Then the third revolution, it was the age of electronics and information technology. Further progressions were made, and that is called as Industry 3.0. That is at the beginning of the 1970s. And today it is Industry 4.0, where the focus is mainly on the cyber physical systems. So this industrial revolution or the Industry 4.0 is based on the cyber physical systems. It is based on artificial intelligence. It is based on augmented technology, augmented reality, so many new technologies, 3D printing is there, so many new technologies. So here, the industries have embraced this technology and they have made a lot of progress in this field, in the industrial revolution. Look at this images. When we say we are skeptical about technology, we are not skeptical about technology. We are with the technology. So sometimes earlier it was a old technology, now it is a new technology. So in our every houses had the first one, that is where we used to grind the grains and convert it into flour. The second image shows that, so there where we use this water mills, where we use the water flow as the energy, and the mills were constructed to this flow. Then next, after the introduction of electricity, we had these flour mills, and today the cyber systems are the what we call it as the artificial intelligence and our mechanized production systems. Now there is less human intervention here in the industry, so the workforce has reduced to a drastic extent. They are using this technologies. So we are in other fields, we are easily using technology. We don't have any excuses for that. We don't have any problems in introduction of or use of technology in other fields. So when we look at the skill scenarios, whether we want new technology, whether we want to introduce new technology or not, see, even in the skills required at the industry level, the skills required for our workforce are also not stable. They have been changing from time to time. There are so many jobs which have become redundant. We don't require those people. Earlier I remember there were STD booths and there were people called as telephone operators. Today we don't require that. Everybody has a telephone in his pocket. So there were STD booths and we used to wait till the after night 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock to make international calls and outstation calls so that the rates are reduced. So that was the technology. So at that time we had a different position, we had different identified workforce. But today, so the skill requirements are changing. So as such, see, the IBM report on disruptive scenario 2022, yes, 133 million new roles will emerge and 75% existing roles will disappear. And the World Economic Forum report is 35% of the skills that are crucial in 2015 will have changed by 2025. And see, the world stable roles, the role of these roles will remain. They will remain stable. Role of the directors, human resource specialists, sales and associated activities, university and higher education teachers, software developers, supply chain, and these will remain. But there is a requirement for new roles. So our students will get placed in these new roles. That is artificial intelligence, machine learning, data learning, data analytics, process automation, training and development specialist, people and culture specialist, innovative specialist, digital marketing specialist. All these are the new roles which will be for the future. And many roles will become redundant. So they will vanish, the data entry operators, financial analysts, accounting and auditing. Even these will vanish because of the advanced technologies, assembly and factory workers, bank tellers, cashiers and other staffs, statisticals, banking and insurance clerk, postal service clerk. All these things is going to vanish. Now, looking at the top 10 skills, which is relevant for Industry 4. So, in 2000, by 2025, so these are the skills which are required: creativity, emotional intelligence, analytical thinking, active learning and growth mindset, judgment and decision making, interpersonal personal communication skills, leadership skills, diversity and cultural intelligence, technology skills, embracing change. See, all these, the skill requirement has never been constant. So it keeps on changing. So our education also in tune with this changing skills, that it has to change. So that is what we have to learn from this. So skill categories, if you look at the skill categories, so the required skill categories today are the learning and innovation skills. So where the focus is on the critical thinking and problem solving, communication and collaboration, creativity and innovation. These are the learning and innovative skills. And the digital literacy skills like information literacy, media literacy, information and communication technologies, and the career and life skills like flexibility and adaptability, initiative and self-direction, social and cross-cultural interaction, productivity and accountability, leadership. So all these are the new skills required for the new workforce, that is for the Industry 4.0. And these skills are not the old skills, these are the progressive skills. And these skills have to be inculcated or incorporated in our education, and for that we require advanced technology. Now look at the shift of the skills during 2016 to 2030. See, more and more technological skills are required and manual skills are reducing. See, there is a negative change in the physical and manual skills, minus 14%. The basic cognitive skills, that is the memorizing and other skills, so they are also not very much required. So minus 15%, there is a reduction from 2016 to 2030. The higher cognitive skills, there is an increase of 8%. Social and emotional skills. If you look at the social and emotional skills, so from 119 it has increased to 148, so there is an increase of 24%. And the most maximum increase is in the technological skills, where there is a requirement of technology improvement to 55%. So therefore, now which skills we have to focus? We have to focus more on technological, social and emotional skills for the future. Look at, let us take an example of banking sector. We are not at all worried about this banking sector. We are not unhappy about this banking sector. Lot of changes have taken place. We are not questioning. We are not saying it is wrong. We actually have embraced that. We have liked that system. See, earlier, we used to go and stand in the bank in the queue to withdraw 100 rupees cash also. We have to stand there for 1 or 2 hours. See, banking, how these reforms they have made. So earlier, when the technology was introduced in the banking sector, and they started introducing technology, there was a lot of resistance. There was a lot of resistance initially. People started calling for dharnas, all the bank strikes, all those things. Then they introduced teller system. Next came the ATMs. Next came net banking. And then came today we are with the apps. We need not go to ATM also today for making payments. So we have these apps. We have Paytm app, we have the Phone Pay, we have Google Pay, all these things. So we never discourage this. We like this. We embrace this technology. So and then came all this e-commerce, Amazon, Flipkart, bill payment. So we can instantly pay money through our connected bank accounts. So this has given us satisfaction. So we can today draw cash 24/7, 365 days. We can make transactions throughout. We can, and that too without any human touch. So human touch is not at all required. So we are very happy with the changes in the banking sector, but we are skeptical about introduction of technology in the education sector. So if we had started when the banks started, we would have ended up with something beautiful like what we have today in the banking sector. So the same should, and same is a must, and same should happen in the education sector also. Now look at the technological innovation in Domino's Pizza. So this Domino's Pizza in 2013, their online orders were only 17%. In 2019, their online orders have increased to 75%. So this was the first food service company which launched online ordering and online ordering. See the success of this. So that means the technology is there in banking, there in business, it is commercially viable everywhere. So why this technology is embraced everywhere? Because industry cannot be stagnant. It has to change because new technologies are introduced. And because of market forces like the competition, economic forces are there, national perspective is there. So because of all these things, because of all these forces and pressures, and they have to perform, only if the people in the industry, if they bring in new technologies, new innovations, they will be able to survive. And they know that, and they are doing that. But in education system, should we not implement this? Now, the UNESCO 21st century approach to educational reforms says these are the changes which are required in the areas of education system. They say that a overall change is required in terms of policy, curriculum, pedagogy, ITC policy, teacher training, organization structure, and so many other things they have mentioned. So what is the goal here is to prepare the learners for the future workforce. So because new technologies are coming, the industry is changing, the commerce is changing, the supply chains are changing. So therefore, to support the development and improvement of the economy, so we have to change through the technological literacy. As I told you, so why we have to embrace technology for learning and teaching? If you look at the research study, if you look at the psychology of learning, so 83% of the learning happens through sight, only 11% through hearing. So that means in the classrooms, so we will make the learner passive. We will not make the learner active, and we will not give, we have limited resources in the classroom to give a visual and a multi-sensory experience. If you look at the today's teaching methodologies, if you look at some today's course material or the videos, you take a video prepared by Byju's for your children. With the theoretical explanation, the teacher will be explaining, and beside the teacher, whatever is textually explaining, the images, everything in an animated way, it will be appearing, and the student can immediately grasp those things. So here we have come to know from research that 83% learning happens through the visuals. to the media-rich content. So that is the reason why all these online platforms today, which are emerging, it can be Coursera, it can be Udemy, it can be Byju's, it can be Khan Academy. There are a number of online learning platforms which have become very successful, and there is lot of satisfaction also among the user. Of course, I am not saying that teacher should be replaced or technology should replace the teacher. I am not saying that. See, with the teacher, with the blended learning system, so we can give whatever is possible. We can give whatever interaction is there in the classroom, and we can give intellectual discussions can be done, intellectual presentations can be done, and the rest of the things can be blended. And I will, in the later slides, I will be speaking about a concept called as flipped classroom. I'll also be speaking about other aspects of how this blended learning can be done. So, online or MOOCs. See, this is one of the important area where technology is very much used, and a lot of institutions are finding a lot of success. Even now, because of the pandemic, we are into a lot of online courses. We are using MOOCs. So we have MOOCs from edX, we have IMBX, there are a lot of platforms. See, the purpose is, see, the IIM professor today is reachable. We can reach him. So the education is becoming liberalized, breaking all the barriers of the time and the space. Now, earlier we had the notion that education means a particular institution, a particular bricked institution, a particular place, and that education will receive only at a particular time. So 10 to 3, 10 to 2 o'clock, only at that time there is education. So in other time, we can't get education. And if you want education, only you should go to that institution, and all your eligibility certificates will be checked, your merit will be seen, your percentage will be looked into, only then you are admitted, only after admission you will receive education. So the technology is breaking all these barriers. Whether you accept it or not, it is breaking all these barriers, the barriers of the space and the time. So you are getting education, you can today get education at night 12 o'clock. You can get education on Sunday. You can get education without admitting in any bricked institution. So this technology is breaking all these barriers. We cannot take this technology lightly. We cannot ignore this technology. So the driver of the technology is online courses and degrees being awarded, which is on rise, making it possible for students to study in areas of their passion. Now, we used to frame a syllabus and we used to tell the student, you have to study only these things. And you have to take the exam in the format which I prescribe. Now, the education is becoming learner-centric, not teacher-centric. The learner's preferences, what learner wants, he can study today. He can sit at his home, he can sit wherever he wants, and he can learn. So that is the power of these online courses or MOOCs or the technology-enabled education. And for professionals, it gives opportunity to personal development by acquiring new skills. Even we can use. I have been looking into so many videos where it was very difficult for me to go and attend lectures in conducted by IIM because they charge huge fees. Today, through the MOOCs, at a very minimal cost, I can take the lecture of a IIM professor. I can listen to the lecture of a IIT professor. I can enhance my knowledge. So this is the power of online courses. See, if I ignore online courses, if the government institutions or the private institutions, if we ignore, so nothing will happen. There are people who are ready to give the courses. There are people who are ready to customize the courses as per the requirement of the student, as per the requirement of the learner. See the growth of Coursera. This is one learning platform, online learning platform. See, it has grown 15 times. And in India, the enrollment are up to 1,400% from last April 2019. So you might say that this is because of pandemic. Yes, of course, this is because of pandemic. But what after pandemic? Will it immediately fall down? No, they will have their own business. They will have their own strategies. They will somehow they will give a customized education, whatever is required. So new types of courses, the market required courses, contemporary courses will be introduced. We are not able to change even one unit in our syllabus without the permission of the board of studies, the universities, all those things. But these people, if a new technology is introduced yesterday, they can introduce a course today. So to now look at the students, of course not at the school level, at least at the higher education level. Now the student has a choice. Now the student can reach wherever he wants. He can take up whatever course he wants. So he can attend the formal education. He can come to our classroom. He can get education from us also. Similarly, after his class hours, he can take up so many courses. He has that choice. And if anybody is still in the confusion and if they say, should we introduce MOOCs? Should we introduce online courses? Should we adopt technology? See, around us, look at the world. What is happening here? This picture shows that each of these apps, which are very, very popular. So YouTube, so more than 400 hours of video is uploaded every 60 seconds in 1 minute. In YouTube, 400 hours of video is uploaded and around 7 lakh hours of videos are watched per second. Look at all the other apps. So this shows that how technology is embraced by people all over the world. So if people are not using technology, if people have not liked technology, then why all these apps are growing? Why there is a huge subscription rush for all these things? So we are using today, we are using Facebook, we are using Google, we are using YouTube, we are using Netflix, Twitter. See all these things. So per minute, what is the statistics it is given here? So coming to education 4. Now education 1 was focusing only on lectures and memorization, education 1.0. So where the focus was on giving lectures, make them understand or memorize, and the same thing, whatever they have memorized, they should put it right in the exam and get a certificate and promote it. Education 2.0, what was the focus? Internet-enabled learning. And most of the internet-enabled learning was open source here. And education 3.0 was knowledge-producing education. So the focus was on knowledge-producing. And now 4.0, the education is innovation-producing education. So education 4.0 is mainly focusing on innovation-producing education, where we want to produce innovators. We are not just only bothered about knowing how and what. We want to go to the next level of questioning why, where. We want to go to analytics, why it is happening. So earlier, the education was just telling this and these things is so and so. This happened like this happened like this. That's all. Now the next thing is questioning why it is happening like that, how it is happening. So innovation, the education is transforming into an innovation here. So we want that creative education, that innovative education here in education 4.0. So in education 4.0, what are the main characteristics of this 4.0 education? The first character is anywhere, anytime. So education 4.0 in this era, there is no restrictions as to the space and the time. So you can get education anywhere, anytime. And the next is personalized education, or we call it as the tailor-made or the customized education. What the learner wants. That is what I was telling. It is learner-centric. It is not teacher-centric. So now learner will decide what he wants to learn. Teacher will not decide what the learner has to learn. Now the learner has got that freedom. He has got that resources. The technology has enabled him with sufficient resources so that he can learn what he wants. Then look at this third one, very interesting, flexible delivery. There is no rigid delivery. You come to the class, only there on the blackboard you will get this information. No. You sit in your house, wherever you want, at whatever time you want, at night 1 o'clock, you will get, there is flexible delivery whenever you want. And learning to peers and mentors. See, this technology has enabled learning through peers and mentors. Peers means the people of the same age group or the people with the same courses, and mentors. So they can get information and they can share the resources from one to other through all the social media apps. Next, this is another very important. Why or where, not what or how. So earlier we were teaching what is this, how is this. Now the next level of education is why and where. So earlier education was just memorizing whatever is the content. Now the next kind of education is the analytics. So we want analysis, we want interpretation. We are looking into the expansive education where we are not just providing them some content and asking the same questions in the examination and we are making to answer them. No, we are making them active learners where they will actively engage in the learning, and many a times they can create their own content. There are possibilities that they will create their own content from the available resources. And the next thing is practical application. In this education 4.4, we also will focus more on practical application. It's not just theoretical knowledge, the practical application. So here, technology will help us where the augmented reality technology or virtual reality technology will help us to give a practical framework for this education. Then modular and projects. So preparing models, preparing projects. This will be another very important area in this education 4.0. Then student ownership. This is what I was discussing. Now student will become the owner. Student will become the center. Student centric, learner centric. Now student will decide what he wants to learn. So this is another important, interesting feature. Then evaluated, not examined. Now earlier we were conducting exams. That is called as examination. So we give some information and we ask some questions from whatever information we have given, and we are examining whether they have learned something. Now it is not examination, it is evaluation. So there is a difference between examination and evaluation. So evaluation is we are not checking their performance only at the end of the period. So we will be in the process of learning itself, we will be evaluating them on each and other aspect of learning. There are different aspects of learning. So various projects or various assignments will be given on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis. We will be evaluating them. There are different types of evaluation, like summative evaluation, formative evaluation. Our education system, even though it is outdated in our country, we are following summative evaluation. So especially higher education, we conduct the exam only at the end of the course. So at the end of the course we conduct, that is called as summative evaluation. Formative evaluation is you conduct examination parallelly with the learning. So every now and then, after a particular topic, after a particular module, so you involve them, you give some quiz, you give some project work, and evaluate whether they have learned or not. So evaluating at smaller intervals will help you understand whether the learner is learning or not, and to make necessary changes in the pedagogy or in the delivery of the information. So these are all the requirements of education 4. And what are the drivers of education 4.0? What are all the facts which are driving why we have to take up education 4.0? So which are the factors which are driving this education 4.0? One thing is the future skills. We know that the future skills are not what we are teaching today. So the future skills are different. The future skills are all technology-based skills. So that is why we have to embrace education. This is one of the drivers. Then our 100-year life, that means our life expectancy is increasing. So due to the advancement in the medical sciences, so the people's mortality rate has come down and their life expectancy is increasing. So as such, so we have to see that. So people today, they want to learn lifelong. They don't want to restrict themselves only to the degree or the postgraduate or PhD. They want to learn lifelong. So that is another driver why we have to embrace education 4.0. Then millennial mindset. So we are dealing with this millennial young population. They are called as the millennials. So these millennial population, they know the technology. As I told you in the beginning, that they are the masters of technology and we are the immigrants of technology. So therefore, so we are teaching to these millennials who already have mastered the technology. They are born with the technology and they are living with the technology. And that is the reason we have to go for education 4.0. Then digital networks and devices. So today we are in the world of digital networks and devices. So therefore, so that is another driver. Then personal data. So today we have a lot of data. We know that big data is there. We know that there is a lot of data mining. There are customer relationship management. So a lot of data is available today. So with that is another driver for education 4.0. Then collaboration platforms. Earlier we did not have this collaboration platform. See, this is whatever is happening now. It is a collaboration platform. This particular lecture series, whatever is happening, is because of the collaboration. I have not seen personally Dr. Padavi sir, principal, or I have not seen Gaura madam. But because of this collaborations, because of this technology, this collaboration is happening. So because of this is another driver. Then talent investment. So we have to invest on talent because tomorrow the talents of our young the population are very very important. So that is another driver. Then shared content and resources. So today, so we have lot of shared content and resources. Earlier days we did not have. So earlier, if we say in before 10 or 20 years, if we speak about education for nobody would it wouldn't it was not possible. But today we have the necessary resources. So this is another important driver for education for. Then social progress. There's a lot of social progress. There are a lot of social apps, and the society is developing or improving. The infrastructure is improving. So all these are some of the drivers for education 4.0, and also the technologies, the upcoming technologies, the future technologies like the cloud computing, artificial intelligence, the virtual reality and immersive architecture, big data, technology for smart cities, architecture, robots and 3D printers, sustainability, continued industry digitization. All these things are saying that we have to go for education 4.0. Now, for our modern education, how our education should be, how this education 4.0 should be. So how we should transform our education. For that, we can take industry as the example. We can copy from them. See, in industry, there is production. In the production, there is flexible production line. There is a lot of flexibility in the industry today. There is flexible production line. Similarly, we can copy that and we can introduce in education. We can give tailor-made learning path. Tailor-made learning strategies can be implemented. Because what is tailor-made? Tailor-made is the method suited for each of them, because there are various types of learners. So all learners are not same. There is diversity of learners. So we can tailor-made. We can give tailor-made. That is what the online platform many apps are doing. So whatever new thing they require, they are preparing a course on that, which is tailor-made to that particular learner. So that we can get from the industry. In industry, there is online quality control. What is online quality control? So as and when there is production, immediately there is quality control. So they will not produce for 1 year, and after 1 year they will not start controlling the quality. No. So immediately a product is produced, it will go to QC, and quality will be tested, and then it will be passed for sale. So similarly, here also we have to adopt formative assessment. That is what I was telling you. Formative assessment is assessment in the process of learning. So every now and then in the smaller intervals, you are assessing the student, so if you wait till the end of the year, then you will come to know that he has not learned anything till the end. So that is what we can get from the industry. Workers monitor automation. Yes, workers, what is the job of the workers in industry? Today, because of the automation, they have to just monitor the automation. They have to see whether the machines are properly functioning or not. Only small intervention is required. Here, teacher also should become a monitor or mentor, and the learning should be through technology. So technology can become a better teacher, and we can become better mentors. So There is a saying that what is the teacher's role today? Earlier, teacher was a sage on the stage. He was a sage on the stage, and today the teacher role is he should be a guide by the side. From sage on the stage to guide by the side. That means we should not. I know so many things, but technology has made learning more visualized with media rich content. So give the technology and you act as a mentor. You intervene only when there is some problem with him. You guide him. So that is the role of a teacher, what we can learn from the industry. Then what industry is doing today, they are giving custom products, customized products. And here in the education, we have to give divergence and pluralism. See, industry is giving products. See, you take any two-wheeler manufacturing company or you take any biscuit. So there are so many varieties. So if I don't like strawberry, they will give me vanilla. If I don't like vanilla, they will give me butterscotch. So there are customized product for each kind of each target buyer. But in education, we don't have the same syllabus for the entire class, the same content for the entire class. So our education should become divergence and pluralism. What is pluralism? See, monoism is giving the same thing to all. Pluralism is giving different things depending on their interest, depending upon their requirement. So this is what we can learn from industry. Then systems engineering. So in industry, there is system, there is a set system, and they know what is the outcome, what should be the outcome, and how the system works. Similarly, in education also, there should be a set system, and we should also define what should be the goal. Then in industry cannot become saturated if they are not learning daily. There is lifelong learning in India. And same thing should apply for us, for teachers here. There should be continuous teacher learning and training. So that this is what we can borrow from the industry. See, all these things, so from industry 4, we can borrow and adopt it in education 4. Now, in 21st century, education should be, see, from all those discussions, now my job has become easy. It should be flexible in the sense. So I am telling you that technology is breaking the barriers of the space and the time. Now there is a lot of flexibility. So we should give that flexibility to the learner. So that flexibility in the sense, so this online content and the courses and various types of what we call it as visual content and media rich content should be produced and should be delivered to the learner at his option in a flexible way. So in future what will happen, all these timelines, that is learning from this month to this month, examination from this month to all these things will go. In the near future, many countries, they are experimenting this, and there are many universities, from brick universities, they are converting themselves into click universities, where these barriers will be removed. I can give you one example for this barrier. See, why we have this summer holidays, do you know? See, the summer holidays, this was introduced somewhere by the Britishers or in the olden education system. So we may say that the summer holidays, because the sunlight is more sharper, so students should stay in house or something like that. We can give many explanations why summer holidays vacations are declared, or for the teachers to do evaluation, all those things we can say. But when I went to some material, I found that the summer vacations were deliberately fixed in particular season, so that at that time the students who were learning in educational institutions, they used to go back and help their parents in the harvesting season, for the harvesting season, and educational institutions had fixed their calendar as per that, so that so the most of the students at that time, they used to come from the countryside, the villages, and they used to study in the institution, and they used to go back to their parents to help in harvest, in the harvest season. See, this was the reason, but still today we have the summer vacations. So this could have changed. We could have changed according to our needs, but we did not change. We are still having the same period as this summer vacation. Okay, this our summer vacation starts after April, and it continues to somewhere around June. So, see, there are so many restrictions, there are so many barriers to education. Of course, in the earlier period, all those barriers were required. But today we have choice, we have technology. Why should I wait till the summer is over so that I can learn something? I can learn immediately. Why should I wait till 10 o'clock the college gates open? I can learn before that. Why should I wait till the college admission process starts? I can learn before that. So, all these possibilities are there, and people, learners, and a lot of educational experts and technology experts are questioning why you are holding with the same barriers, the time and space barriers. So make it flexible. And so that is regarding the flexibility of the turning of the learning regarding the time and space. Now, we are in the country where we are giving mass education. We cannot have a tailor-made curriculum for each and every group of students. But with the technology, it is possible. So we can have tailor-made courses based on the requirement of the society, what society needs today. Based on that, we can design tailor-made courses. And taught by teachers who become mentors. In 21st century education, as I told you, so the teacher is a guide by the side, he is a mentor. So he will not fully involve in the process of passing information. There are efficient technologies which can provide better standardized information to the learner, better than teacher. But that intellectual and that human touch, that personal touch which is given by the teacher cannot be provided by machine, and that work has to be, that motivation has to be given by the mentor or the teacher. Next, treat students as individuals with different interests. Now we are considering all the students in the classroom as same, but in reality they are students with different interests. There is a diversity in the classroom, so there is difference in the interest. So therefore, so we have to treat, there are some slow learners, there are some fast learners. So therefore, we can program our teaching and learning through the intervention of technology. So for the diversified group. Next, integrating technology in the teaching learning process. So we have to, in the 21st century education, we have to compulsorily integrate the technology in the teaching learning process. Now, coming to the role of technology for teaching and learning, the technology acts in three ways. Technology as a tutor. So technology directly can become a teacher for teaching some basic information, like giving some fundamental information. Technology can directly act as a teacher, or it can support the teacher. So this is one role of technology. The second role, technology as a teaching tool. Okay, we as teachers, we can use technology as a teaching tool, like we are using this Zoom, Google Meet. This is one tool we are using for teaching our students. And also technology, we can, as teachers, we can design our own tools. I'm seeing so many teachers, they are designing their own tools. They are coming out with new ideas. Using the existing technology, they are creatively designing their own kind of tool. And technology, in the third stage, it can act as a learning tool. So for the learner, it makes learning easy and effective. It achieves higher order learning outcomes and develops 21st century skills useful for workplace. So makes learning easy and effective in the sense, as I told you, if you give the media rich and visual content, so it will reach the learner and achieves higher order learning outcomes. See, the lower order learning outcomes are just memorizing, remembering. So these are the lower order, the cognitive skills. So you can look into the Bloom's taxonomy, where these are the lower order skills. So if you want to teach them higher order skills like the analytical skills or the research skills, so all these things can be done through technology intervention. Then develop 21st century skills useful for workplaces. So as I told you, so the third important role is to develop the 21st century skills useful for the workplace. And of course, some of the skills which are required for the future, we don't know. But still, so there are some technologies which are emerging. So we have to immediately teach those technologies. So technology-enabled learning provides lifelong learning for digital economy. So this concept of lifelong learning has become a very, very important concept, because today, so if we learn only up to our degree or postgraduate, it is not sufficient, because that society is changing, the technologies are changing, the requirements of the society is changing. So if we do not update ourselves in a lifelong process learning, so we will be left behind. So this technology-enabled learning has to cater to the future requirements. So we should focus on future-ready skills like the innovation technology and